maybe 20, 30 times a week. It seems like that. That's about how many times a week I get asked about interest rates, which, if you're a mortgage lender, which I am, it's not a bad thing. However, I rarely, if ever, get asked about APR. So, are consumers asking the wrong questions? Stay tuned. Now, if you've done any financing before, and not just mortgage financing, you're probably familiar with the terms interest rate and APR, and maybe you've even used those, not fully understanding the difference, and that's okay. So, in a very simple way, let's talk through these and make them make sense. As a consumer, the main thing you need to know about interest rate, as far as on the technical side of things, is that it's the amount charged on top of the principal by a lender. And it is one of the main things that your payment is based off of. So a higher rate means a higher payment, lower rate means a lower payment. Simple enough. APR, on the other hand, is determined by the interest rate and some of the loan cost. Also, and this is an important also, APR does not affect your payment. That means two lenders could have the same interest rate, the same terms, which means you would have the same payment. However, they would have different APRs. Now it's getting interesting. So, if APR doesn't affect your payment, why is it so very important to understand? Well, because APR is affected by loan fees is a good indication if one lender is charging higher fees than another. As I said, both lenders could have the same interest rate, they could have the same terms, they could have you'd have the same payment. However, one lender could have higher fees, and while that would not be reflected in your monthly payment, it would affect your overall out-of-pocket over the terms of the mortgage. And let me simplify this even more. If someone were to come up to you and say, hey, I'll lend you $10,000 for 5 years at a 5% interest rate, and I want you to pay me $100 to do this. And then someone else were to come up to you and say, I will also lend you $10,000, also for 5 years, also at a 5% interest rate, but I want you to pay me $500 to do it. If everything else were the same, which one would you go with? And that's one of the things that APR is intended to do, to allow the consumer the option to compare and contrast loan options to make sure they're making a smart decision. Now, just because one lender has a higher APR doesn't always mean they are charging more fees. They could be looking at a different loan program. So you want to make sure you're comparing apples to apples as best you can. And the best way to do that is to look at both lenders' total cost analysis, or TCA. We provide these to clients when they begin the home loan process, and it helps them to compare loan options. It shows fees, it shows terms, it shows APR. And even though I go over it with my clients, I also embed a customized video specific to their needs, walking them through their options, and it's a great tool when they need a reference back. So make sure your lender is providing you one to help you in your loan decision. Now, at a certain point, the lender will be required to provide you with a loan estimate that shows APR. However, in my opinion, once you get to that point, and normally that's when you're under sales contract, you may not have the time or the luxury to review other options. So again, ask for a TCA if you are doing any mortgage financing. It will answer a lot of mortgage questions. And speaking of questions, if you have any further lending questions or you would like your own customized total cost analysis, visit my website, reach out to me. I'm always happy to help. Thanks for watching, and this has been your Mortgage Minute.